All right, hello everyone. Let's get started on this part two of our two-part series on the do's and don'ts of social media and organic social media. And I believe we are all good to go. I'm getting a thumbs up from my team, and let's get at it real quick. Let's jump into some housekeeping. Yes, we will be recording this, and we will be sending them to your inbox. You can also find this webinar as well as part one of this webinar on our Nuvi YouTube channel. If you have any questions throughout, because we're going to be talking about multiple platforms as we did in episode one, I assume that a lot of the questions are going to be very specific. And if you have questions, please email them to webinars@nuvi.com. You can also reach out to us at Nuvi on Twitter. And if your questions are a little bit more broad or a little bit more specific, please feel free to email and reach out at webinars@nuvi.com. Real quick, my name is Scott Brown. I'm a digital marketing specialist here at Nuvi. I have a lovely wife and a puppy named Bandito that, of course, has an Instagram account. I wouldn't be in social media if I didn't have a family animal that also had an Instagram account. And on the weekends, you can usually find me working on my house, working on a house project, doing something at home. Um, I work here at Nuvi. Nuvi is a social media analytics, monitoring, listening platform. If you're in social media, you definitely should check out Nuvi. We do a little bit of everything and help you identify influencers, engage with influencers, engage with your audience, understand what your specific social channels are doing, how they're doing, how you can make them better. It's the Swiss Army knife, allowing you to attack and do everything you possibly want to in your social media. Um, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a social media webinar without me sharing some of my favorite latest social tidbits. Right now, this is kind of blowing up, and I love it. I love it a lot. It's the Meme Kermit me to me meme. Um, Kind of the play off of an angel on your shoulder and the devil on your other shoulder. I just finished my workout, time to eat something healthy, as we all do and we all think. And then the honest truth that we say to ourselves, me to me, eat a whole pizza, you've earned it. I just love that, and in future webinars, I hope to share something in social media that is trending or something that I particularly find interesting. There have been a whole lot of rip-offs of this or creative takes on this, and let your creative juices flowing and see what you can do. Let's jump right into it. The effects of social media mistakes. So these are the don'ts on several of the social media platforms. These are things you're going to want to avoid. Some of them might be very elementary for some of you. Some of them are going to be exactly what you need to hear. But let's jump right into our first social platform, Facebook. Now, this should be the most um, obvious don't that we're gonna talk about today. Don't like your own posts. Um, we obviously we put a lot of time and effort into creating our posts. We put a lot of polish behind them. We look at all the words. We look at everything. Just be happy that it's up on the wall. Don't give yourself a blue ribbon. Don't be the person that likes your own post. Just stay away from that. Tip number two: don't over promote or spam. Facebook's, we all know, is very content heavy, and as we do 1 to 2 posts a day, we're really going to hit our audience and do well. We don't want to do any more than that unless we are a breaking news channel or something that's going to require more than 1 post a day. But keep it right around 1 to 2 posts a day, especially as a brand or a business, just so you're staying in touch with your audience, but you're not killing them with your content. Tip number three: don't connect with everyone. Um, a lot of people connect with you just because they want you to connect back. Really know your audience and know who's connecting with you, and connect with those that are going to help push you forward. Connect with those that are in your common audience and that are going to be beneficial to you and not just parasites. Number four: don't just delete negative comments or reviews. Now, this one is very particular to your type of audience, your what brand you are, what company you are. What I usually like to go for is, if you have negative comments, depending on the severity of them, if they're extremely negative, it's best to respond, communicate with that person, and as long as you're communicating with them, then I feel like you can go ahead and delete those negative comments. reviews, other comments that may not be super negative, but that are opinions or reaching out to you about a problem that they're having. Make sure you're responding to them, but don't delete them. People like to see that a company is human, or the company makes mistakes, or that a company doesn't quite have everything that they need for their customers, but they're working their hardest to provide everything that they have. Here's an example right here of becoming unresponsive. Don't become unresponsive. Make sure that you are responding again, whether the comments are negative or positive. This example here is a little negative. That, hey, you're only deleting my posts. You're not responding to me about a specific Walmart in Denton. And Walmart reaches out. Look, we're trying. We're working hard. Get in contact with us this way, and that's how you can be responsive. Number 6, don't use too much automation. The point of social media is to be social. It is to be human. And as we are communicating with one another, it's important to be real. And a lot of times on comments or on posts that people are trying to reach out to us here at Nuvi, we like to put our own personal name on it. It just kind of helps our audience and our customers understand that, oh, this isn't just Nuvi reaching out to me. This is Scott in marketing, or this is Scott at customer service, or whatever it is. It makes it a little bit more human, a little bit more personal. Tip number 7, don't post about trigger topics. Now, obviously, if you're a company or brand or business that is a news station, a nonprofit, or is directly associated with these topics, then of course you're going to post about them. But as a brand, as a company, try to stay away from race, religion, politics, sex, other trigger topics that will immediately put at odds half of your audience, or more than half of your audience. Too many times we see famous athletes or even companies and brands that, whether they decide to or not, are associated with these trigger topics, and it really becomes a PR nightmare where they are constantly trying to either dig themselves out of the hole that they created, or make sure that they show that they are not being misrepresented by other things or other people. The latest one that I can think of is New Balance and New Balance shoes. They were not directly responsible for any of the PR related issues that they had necessarily, but again, don't post about trigger topics. Don't give that ammunition out. Okay, jump right into Twitter. The don'ts on Twitter. Number 1, don't be shy. Twitter is such a great tool where, especially with B2C, where your customers can reach out to you, and all too often brands don't take full advantage of this. This is where you can really be one-to-one personal. People reaching out to you, you can tweet right back at them, you can comment at them, and don't be shy. People love it. I have a friend, again, I mentioned this in the first webinar, who reached out to Verizon and said, hey, you guys said that I could trade in my iPhone 6 for the iPhone 7, and I went to trade it in, and it wasn't working. And Verizon automatically just reached right back out to him and apologized and said, hey, we're so sorry. Let's reach out to this number, contact us here, we'll get this taken care of for you right now. And the fact that they weren't shy created increased brand loyalty, a great customer experience, and really that humanistic touch where it's one-to-one, customer to business and to employee. I mean, we're all working for companies, and we're all trying to help our companies do better. And sometimes customers only see the face of the company, the face of Verizon, the face of the specific company, and it's a great way for Twitter to be able to reach out one-to-one. Number 2, don't favorite when you should reply. Now, we all have that friend that when we're telling them a story or it's something important to us, and we get to the end, and then we either ask them a question, or we're like, that was really crazy, right? And they all give us the or the yeah, or you can tell they really weren't paying attention. That's what happens when you favorite a tweet that is one you should reply to. People will reach out to you, and if you or say something nice about you, or be like, hey, we just used this and we loved it, and all you do is favorite, you're basically being that friend that is saying, yeah, or the spouse that is really not paying attention. You're saying, I recognize what you're saying, but I really don't care about it. By replying or quoting or sharing, retweeting that tweet, you're really telling your customer, your client, even your friends, that you really did care what they were talking about, and it wasn't just, you weren't just giving them half your attention. Number 3, don't automate direct messages. Now, we had a a follower recently, that person that we followed, and they sent us this direct message. And at first I thought, wow, this is really awesome. He took time out of his day to send me a couple paragraphs of how he was grateful that I did this and I followed him. And then I realized it was just an automated message. Now, uh, I really didn't like that. It was an automated message to us, Nuvi, here as a brand. It was a message that was sent to a specific person, meaning it was going to be sent directly to me. Now, if it was just my Twitter account, maybe I wouldn't be alerted that he just set up these automated messages. But don't automate your direct messages. It really puts off a bad vibe and really shows that you really don't care. You're sending them an automated email, more or less, that says, hey, thanks for following me, and you really aren't that important to me. Twitter don't number 4, don't follow everyone who follows you. Again, know your audience, know who your people are. There are people out there, believe it or not, we all seen it, that follow everyone. They'll go out and they'll just follow everyone that is suggested. They'll follow everyone that they can, and then if they don't get a follow back from you, they'll just unfollow you. And that's how they grow their audience, and that's how they work the system, more or less. As a company, brand, and for your clients, don't follow everyone who follows you. Make sure you understand who they are. Give them a little bit of your time to research and see, look at their profile and see if it's things that you're interested in, things that matter to you, and then give them a follow back. Number 5, don't use too many hashtags, especially on Twitter and Instagram. We'll talk about this in a little bit. Is the use of hashtags? You keep it minimal, you'll get a lot more engagement. Now that might seem a little different. You think, man, if I do the shotgun approach, I throw a ton of hashtags onto this post, I'm going to send it out there, and people that are into pets are going to click on it, and people that are into DIY home improvement are going to click on it, and people that are into cars are going to click on it. Yes, you might get a little bit more audience that might click on different things, but they're going to notice and they're going to see that you're doing the shotgun approach, and the things that you're providing them aren't really what they want. You're not going to be able to talk to all these different people with your content. You're not going to be able to share this message to all these different people and all these different genres. And so don't use too many hashtags. Use precise ones. Throw in some funny ones on occasion, but you can just use 1 to 2 hashtags and move on. Tip number 6, don't be too predictable. Now, I get this all the time, and this happens a lot. I actually just had a conversation with my graphic designer because I kept telling her that I didn't want something too feminine but not too masculine. Like, I wanted to be kind of in the middle. By being predictable, we're not too hot or not too cold. We're giving the audience exactly what they think they should get from us, and I think that's okay, but it's not being creative, and it's not being engaging. You want to be a little bit unpredictable. You want to be able to show your audience that you're really working hard, and you're not just giving them, again, an automated message. Predictability is very automated. This is what you would expect to see from us. All right, let's jump right into Instagram. Instagram number 1, don't abuse hashtags. Again, we just talked about this with Twitter. We don't want to put too many hashtags into our Instagrams. And the latest trend is, and everyone has seen it, is to put a bunch of bullet points. And I literally just did this just the other day with my dog's Instagram account. I put all these bullet points so that the audience can, doesn't have to see that I'm tagging it with hashtag dog in clothes, hashtag long hair chihuahua, right? But it's still annoying, especially coming from a brand, because you see the little ... You see the more you want to read it, especially if it's engaging. If you're doing your job and it's an engaging piece of content, they're going to click on that more, and then all they're going to see are the bullet points, and then it's a negative experience. It's just a slight bit of a salt in the wound of a nasty post. Don't abuse hashtags on number 1. You can see here too that as you increase your hashtags, yes, you're going to increase interactions, but they're not going to be the audience that you're wanting. If I jump back here, yes, I'm going to have hashtags for long hair chihuahua, dogs and clothes, dog related hashtags. But as you continue to blurt out all these hashtags that are on your post, you're really going to decrease the amount of quality conversations that you can potentially have. Instagram number 2, don't be afraid to try something new. Now, we all we all are constantly evolving, especially social media. It almost gets to a point where it's annoying, where you find out, oh my gosh, Snapchat now allows you to do this, and then oh, Instagram allows you to do this, and then oh, Facebook is doing this now because of Instagram and because of or because of Snapchat. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Video is huge. Do some live videos. Do some Instagram stories. Do something new that will engage your audience in a different way. And again, show yourself and show your company, show your clients, companies that you are human and that you are just like they are. You're working in an office. You're doing your best to get your message out or their message out, and try something new and join a challenge. Do something maybe out of the ordinary that will be, again, not be predictable. Tip number 3: don't join in the follow back crowd. Right? Again, it's important to tell your audience to participate, to engage, but just follow me, follow back. Like, guys, that's old school. It's probably one of the most obvious tips. We don't want to even worry about that one. Tip number 4: don't post more or less than needed. Instagram especially, where they're adjusting algorithms constantly, things won't get seen. Try to keep it between 1 and 8 times a day, depending on your brand or your service. Me personally, in my personal life, I post occasionally, hardly more than once a day, unless I'm on vacation or doing something fun. But again, I don't want to be. We all have those people. We all see those brands. We all see those friends of ours that are posting every step that their child takes, or every time they go up in on the swings at the park. There are other ways and other platforms for those specific types of postings, especially Instagram stories, Facebook Live, different ways you can post video or things where there's more content. But if you're posting your Instagram photos, keep it between 1 and 8 times a day, depending on your brand, but don't pester your audience on Instagram. Tip number 5: don't forget to offer a reason to follow you. Now, again, we don't want to be the follow back crowd, but we want to give people enough content. We want to give them enough information that they're going to be encouraged to follow you. Now, in marketing, we all know that people tend to not do things unless you tell them to do it. Like for example, say you're a restaurant and you have a new menu item, and it's this amazing new thing you've created, a burger with a special sauce, and maybe you throw some pineapple on there or whatever it is. People aren't going to know how to order it unless it's either on the menu, or you create some kind of thing that shows them, hey, we have this new burger, we have this new offering. Make sure you occasionally tell your audience, hey, follow us for the latest of this, this, and this. Tell them what they can expect. Tell them you're specializing in, like us newbie, we're going to follow very trending topics. We're going to follow breaking news. We're going to follow events. We're going to be sharing statistics, numbers, influencers. We're going to be sharing that information and encourage them to follow you and to understand. The best way to offer or to show people to follow you is to create great content. It's just like you go to Costco and you walk around the wholesaler and they have free samples, right? It's showing you that they have this offering, and by giving a sample of it, you're able to taste it and decide, oh, that's really good, or maybe they have that in a different flavor, or whatever it is. You can do the same thing with your content in offering good content, great content, and an occasional shout out, say, hey, win this prize or do this thing and follow us, and we're going to pick from our new followers to show them on our channel, or give them a prize. Tip number 6: don't post unrelated content just to get engagement. We tend to get excited about content that may or may not be good for our brand or our business or our clients. Keep content on point. Keep content on brand. Don't be predictable, but don't just post things that don't make any sense. It's bad practice, and it happens all too often in the social media world. All right, let's jump right into Pinterest. Pinterest has some really good don'ts here. Don't number 1: don't forget to add Pinterest buttons to your site, especially if you're an e-commerce site. Apply Pinterest buttons liberally. The point of Pinterest, and from my point of view, I don't want to offend anyone, is for people to be able to collect and gather and organize information. And by being able to put Pinterest buttons throughout your site and on especially things that you're selling or like ideas that you're promoting, it allows people to collect those as they're perusing your website, as they're seeing your your social media posts, or as they're seeing different things. That way they can come back to it later and consume it, right? A lot of people on Pinterest, right, have wish lists or dream boards, right? And that way, when people are on your website and see the things that they want, maybe they don't have a house yet, or they're preparing to buy a house and they need that lamp for that room, or whatever it is. Being able to click and click that button, add that Pinterest bubble to your site is exactly what you want. Tip number 2: don't steal content by repinning competitors. Repinning is okay, but stay away from competitors. It's just a very simple don't. To Pinterest don't. Number 3: don't post spammy comments. Now, we see it happen, right? You have a company and it has posts and recipes or information that they're sharing, infographics, things that may be good, good pieces of content, and then you see the guerrilla marketing effort of another company or competitor jumping on there and being like, hey, if you don't like this, you should come check out us over here. And just don't do it. Don't post spammy comments. Social media is very, very associated with karma. And the better karma you have, the more respect you give one another, the more will be returned, and especially in social media. Tip number 4: don't pin all at once. Maybe you're saving all these ideas, all these things that you've had, and you're going to post them. Post them over time. Post them over a week. Post them over a month. Don't just pin them all at once. Your followers will get notified. Your followers notifications will blow up. Again, it'll alert your subscribers. Keep your pins gradual and consistent. Pinterest don't. Number 5: don't start boards without content. Too many times we see boards that are coming soon, and you're excited, or you're the people, you're like, oh, I wonder what they're working on. Don't do it. Don't post boards without content. At least put a couple posts in there. Tell your audience what they're expecting, and keep it again consistent and gradual. Pinterest number 6: don't confuse followers with random pins. This is an example here in this next slide. Your followers are your audience. Your audience is your lifeblood. And if you don't know who your audience is, find out immediately. If you're posting random pins, your audience is going to get confused. Your audience is going to be like, well, why is there a chihuahua? Why is there a deal on a scarf? Why is there an infographic? What is going on here? Make sure that your posts are creative. They can be broad. They just need to make sure that you're hitting your audience and what they understand. For example, newbies audience, we know that we have technophiles, we know we have shutterbugs, we know we have movie lovers. These are all things in Google Analytics that tell us who our audience is. Those are the type of things that they're all different genres, they're all different topics, but they are cohesive because that's what our audience is already consuming. Make sure you're hitting the topics that your audience is consuming. Pinterest number 7: don't forget who the audience is. Again, especially on Pinterest, it tends to be a little bit more female topic, female audience. Make sure you're hitting the things that, I mean, if you're on Pinterest, you pretty much are, you should already know this. But if your brand and your company is on Pinterest, make sure that you're hitting the things that your audience is, and that you know who your audience is. Don't forget, as you're posting, that maybe some things are important to you, but if the audience isn't going to engage with the content you're posting, then all of your work is just in vain. All right, let's jump real quick into LinkedIn. We're wrapping things up here. Number 1: don't spam new connections. It's very important in LinkedIn. Your personal connecting with people. We get them all day long, right? From colleagues, from people that we knew in high school, or people who know people that we know. Don't spam them. Don't just send them the message, hey, I want to connect on LinkedIn. Like, we all hate that. Actually reach out to them. Actually take 2 seconds and put a sentence down that says, hey, I know you don't know me, but I am friends with so-and-so, and I would love to connect with you. We're in the same industry, or you're in an industry that is interesting to me. Or if you do know them, hey, tell them exactly where you found them or where you know them from. Maybe they don't really remember you, but you met them. My one go-to that I always like to use is say reaching out to Michael Jordan, right? Everyone knows who Michael Jordan is, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, Michael Jordan this, Michael Jordan that. If you're reaching out to Michael Jordan, if you're reaching out to someone that doesn't know you, but you know them, everyone knows them, give them a reason. Tell them why. Tell them exactly how you know them. Tell them, hey, I met you at this conference. Things were really crazy. You probably don't remember me, but dot dot dot. Or if you didn't actually meet them, tell them a little bit about um, why you want to connect with them. Hey, I noticed you're in influencer marketing. I really love this industry. I'm really trying to get into how to associate and connect with influencers and be able to use them and join with them in promoting XXX brand, right? Be specific and don't just spam them. Number two, don't treat LinkedIn like Facebook or Twitter. Yes, LinkedIn is professional. LinkedIn is a professional space. All too often, it gets blended in with your connections, just like Facebook or Twitter. Um, be professional on the site. Uh, be Make sure your sentences that your reaching out is professional in language, is professional in grammar. Um, don't treat LinkedIn like Facebook or Twitter. Tip number three, don't blanket connect. Don't just connect with everyone. Again, you're trying to be personal, you're trying to be one-to-one. Make sure you're connecting with people that that would be in your audience or that would make a good connection. Tip number four, don't be lazy. Don't be inactive. If you're on LinkedIn, the occasional poster on LinkedIn, it just shows that you really aren't trying and that you're really not connecting with your audience. Tip number five, don't mass message without clicking the little BCC button. How many times have we sent an email out that we have um, not we've CC'd and not BCC'd? We have a funny story to tell about that, but we might have to wait for another time. But we've all been in those family group text messages, right? We get those family group text messages from our aunt or our uncle about some upcoming thing, and then all of a sudden, whether we like it or not, we are all joining this party of text messages. And we get out of a meeting and we look at our phone and we see 32 unread messages. You think that something bad happened. What is going on? And you find out that it's just so and so left their keys at the family party and they're trying to find them, and you're grouped in. Don't mass message, especially on LinkedIn, without the BCC. But even then, connect one-to-one as much as you possibly can. And tip number six, don't only self-promote. If you're only talking about yourself, no one likes that. No one likes people that just share constantly how great they are. Make sure you're interacting with your audience and sharing things that are related to them, sharing articles that you find interesting in your industry. You can't expect people to promote you if you don't promote other people. So don't be selfish. Don't be selfish on LinkedIn. Tip number seven, don't post negative or rude comments. Again, keep it professional. You can have a critique, you can have a comment that is less than kind, but don't use negative or rude comments. Again, everyone is working their hardest, doing the best they can. Try to keep things less not personal, very, very professional, and keep your criticisms very professional. I mean, this you can see here in this example is a very personal hate. What would you call it? Comment. Oh, and just stay away from that. Again, these are the don'ts of social media. Thanks for coming and listening. We will be posting this to our YouTube channel at Nuvi, and you can find us on Twitter at Nuvi, also on Facebook and Instagram. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out webinars@nuvi.com. And thanks for joining. We'll connect this with our part one and have part one and part two of our do's and don'ts of social media posted shortly to YouTube. Thanks a lot.